The Scarecrow. 9-year-old Arjun lived with his father in a small village. His mother, who had been his best friend, had died a few years earlier due to an illness, leaving him feeling very lonely. He didn't have many friends at school either, and because he was the smallest in his class, the other kids always picked on him. But that night, Arjun's life changed forever. That day at school, the kids in Arjun's class had mocked him so much that he ended up in a fight with one of them, which led to all the children chasing him, intending to beat him up. To escape them, Arjun ran through a field. He had no idea that in the middle of the field, something sinister awaited him. There stood a scarecrow, its head a pot painted with a white face, and its entire body stuffed with straw. Its eyes, glistening in the sunlight, seemed to be staring directly at him. Seeing the scarecrow, Arjun realized he had entered a forbidden field known throughout the village as a place of death, a place where no one dared to go for fear of losing their life at the hands of the scarecrow. Standing there, Arjun stared at the scarecrow, petrified. Soon, the boys who had been chasing him caught up and surrounded him. Arjun, knowing what was coming, closed his eyes and began to cry, resigning himself to the beating he was about to receive. But then he heard a rustling sound and the boys' screams. When he opened his eyes, he saw the boys lying on the ground, clutching their deeply injured arms. They ran home, terrified. Arjun, paralyzed with fear, went straight to bed, unable to comprehend what had happened in the field. That night, as he lay in bed, Arjun couldn't stop thinking about the scarecrow and why it hadn't killed him. Eventually, he fell asleep. In the middle of the night, he awoke suddenly and saw the scarecrow outside his window, its white eyes staring at him. Before he could react, the scarecrow reached through the window with its straw-filled hand and grabbed Arjun's arm. As he struggled, Arjun began to see a vision of a young boy being beaten to death by upper-caste men for trespassing in the field. To hide the crime, they stuffed the boy's body into the scarecrow. Realizing that the scarecrow was the spirit of a boy who had suffered just like him, Arjun felt a strange kinship. From then on, Arjun and the scarecrow became friends. The scarecrow showed Arjun magical tricks, while Arjun brought it new clothes and toys. But the incident in the field had left the village shaken. Arjun's father, who was a priest, was called to purify the spirits of the injured boys, as their parents feared the scarecrow would come after their children next. Arjun and the scarecrow spent a lot of time together. The scarecrow would entertain Arjun with its powers, and Arjun would bring it gifts. When Arjun's birthday came, the kids at school started to bully him again, mocking his mother's death. Enraged, Arjun threw a duster at one of the boys' heads and ran away. That night, something terrible happened. The scarecrow, with its straw-filled hands, ripped the chests of the boys who had tormented Arjun, killing them. The village, horrified by the boys' deaths, decided to burn the scarecrow. They searched for it, but couldn't find it. Arjun's father, upon returning home and not finding Arjun, feared the worst and started searching for him with a torch in hand. Exhausted and heartbroken, he sat at his late wife's favorite spot, sobbing for his lost son. Suddenly, he heard Arjun's voice and saw him with the scarecrow. Unaware that Arjun had saved the scarecrow from the villagers, his father advanced with the torch to protect his son. The Scarecrow grabbed Arjun's father with its straw hands, and Arjun screamed, begging it to let his father go. When the Scarecrow didn't relent, Arjun, in desperation, picked up the fallen torch and set his best friend on fire to save his father. The burning Scarecrow released Arjun's father, but it was too late. His father had already died. That night, Arjun lost the two most important beings in his life, his father and his best friend. Alone and heartbroken, Arjun was left to navigate a world that had shown him both the depths of cruelty and the power of an unexpected friendship. As days turned into weeks, Arjun's grief deepened. He would often visit his mother's grave, talking to her in the hope that her spirit would provide some comfort. But solace was hard to come by. The villagers, still reeling from the horrific deaths of their children, treated Arjun with a mix of pity and suspicion. They avoided him, whispering about the boy who had befriended the cursed Scarecrow. Arjun's father's death had left him in a precarious situation. The village elders decided to send him to live with his uncle in the city, believing it was best for everyone. Arjun's uncle, a stern man with little patience for childish whims, saw Arjun as a burden. The city, with its noise and bustle, felt alien to Arjun, who longed for the quiet fields of his village despite the dark memories they held. One night, as Arjun lay in his new room, he heard a familiar rustling. He looked out the window and saw a flicker of light. Sneaking out, he followed the light to an abandoned lot where, to his astonishment, stood a new Scarecrow, eerily similar to the one from his village. As he approached, he realized this Scarecrow, too, had a story to tell. Through dreams and visions, Arjun learned that this new Scarecrow was inhabited by the spirit of another child who had met a tragic end. The city had its own dark past, hidden beneath the facade of progress and modernity. Determined to uncover the truth and free the spirit, Arjun began a new journey, facing challenges that tested his courage and resilience. In his quest, Arjun found unlikely allies. An old librarian who had witnessed the city's hidden history and a group of children who had their own encounters with the supernatural. Together, they unraveled the mystery of the city's Scarecrow, discovering a web of deceit and injustice that had claimed many innocent lives. Arjun's bond with the Scarecrow grew stronger, and he realized that the spirits of these children sought not revenge, but peace. They wanted their stories to be told, their sufferings acknowledged. With each step closer to the truth, Arjun felt a weight lifting from his heart. He was not just fighting for the spirits, but for his own redemption and healing. The final confrontation came on a stormy night, as Arjun and his friends faced the malevolent forces that had tried to keep the past buried. In a dramatic showdown, they managed to bring the truth to light, leading to the exoneration of the innocent spirits and the punishment of those responsible for the atrocities. With the spirits finally at peace, the Scarecrow disintegrated, leaving behind only the memories of its tragic existence. Arjun, though still bearing the scars of his experiences, found a new sense of purpose. He had turned his pain into strength, his loneliness into a mission to help others. Returning to his village, Arjun was welcomed as a hero. The villagers, having heard of his bravery, began to see him in a new light. They repaired the broken ties and honored the memory of those lost. Arjun, now wiser and stronger, knew that his journey was far from over. He had faced darkness and emerged with a heart full of light, ready to face whatever came next. Thus, the tale of Arjun and the Scarecrow became a legend, a story passed down through generations, reminding everyone of the power of friendship, the importance of truth, and the resilience of the human spirit. If you enjoyed our content, please subscribe to our channel, hit the bell icon, and like the video. Don't forget to share your thoughts in the comments. Thank you for watching, and we'll be back with another story soon. Until then, bye.